Some Saturdays, you've just got to stay home. So we'll be running a stay-at-home sale Saturday. So let me introduce you to some of my books. Histories, mysteries, legends, and lore. That's how I like to briefly describe what I like to write. Now, truthfully, I was a huge fan of Indiana Jones growing up. So when I realized I couldn't become Indiana Jones as a college major, I decided that I wanted to create something that allowed my love of Indiana Jones to come through. And that is the Alchemist Chronicles. So let me just introduce you to what we have here. So the Alchemist Chronicles is kind of a historical adventure story, kind of in the spirit, as I said, of Indiana Jones, but more like a Da Vinci Code, where you have these secret societies, or like National Treasure, where there's this chase for a relic. And in this case, the relic is the Philosopher's Stone. Now, where did I come up with that idea? Well, my guys kind of led me to them. So the two books that I have currently are The Alchemist Stone, which is the story of Pierre Charles Lesueur and how this like Paul Bunyan fur trader kind of gave everything up to go chase after some blue dirt. Now, 150 years later, the French scientist Joseph Nicolet, he was baffled by this little conspiracy theory involving Pierre Charles Lesueur, so he decided to go on his own adventure. And that's the story that follows in The Alchemist Map. The story of Pierre Charles Lesueur is The Alchemist Stone. The Alchemist Map is the Joseph Nicolet story. So they're kind of bookends of this adventure story involving the Philosopher's Stone. So you get a lot of historical, you get some mystery, and then you get some of the fun adventure stories. And that leads me to kind of the bridge piece, Tales of the Blue Earth. So in the real life of Joseph Nicolet was taken up north by an Anishinaabe guide by the name of Shagobay. And Shagobay took him to this mystical place called Lake Manitou. And inside of Lake Manitou, there was this sleeping water spirit. And he told the guys, got to raise your paddles up lest you wake the spirit. So what I did with this story is I kind of captured all of those fun local legends that would have made Indiana Jones proud to tell around a campfire, including the story about Shagobay and Lake Manitou. And that leads, of course, to my other series. Next, I'd like to introduce you to the Dreamcatcher Chronicles. Long before there was Eddie Munson and Stranger Things, I had the idea of doing a series in what I would refer to as the North Woods mythology. So what is this North Woods mythology? Well, it's a combination. It includes some Dakota mythology, some Anishinaabe mythology, some Norse mythology, and it's all set in what I'd refer to as kind of this Stranger Things meets Stephen King's It, meets Twin Peaks, kind of supernatural world. So let me just introduce them. The first one we have up, this is the Fire Handler. This is the first of the series, and it introduces you to the kind of the series protagonist, Lily Guerin, and she's kind of the grandmother of the whole story. So it's kind of a chronological piece. In this one, yeah, you get a lot of things that go bump in the night, that supernatural quality. It is set at a haunted lake. Has a bunch of really fun things inspired from willow tree mythology, haunted lakes, the horned serpent mythology, ravens. So it's a real fun kind of fantasy series, but it's set in the North Woods of Minnesota. And then the series continues. A generation later, this one's set in the late 1890s, we have The Winter Maker. And The Winter Maker is kind of this disaster story set in the winter of 1962, and it kind of continues. So you have these carryover characters where Lily was the young woman in the first book, and now she's the old grandmother figure, and we have a whole new cast of young people. So in that way, it does remind me of those series like Stephen King's It, where you have young people battling monsters. So this is, again, set in the North Woods of Minnesota, kind of a fantasy series, and it'll eventually be a 7-book series, so I'll be cranking out one every year. So this is the Dreamcatcher Chronicles. Finally, I'd like to introduce you to my Bible studies. Just like I'm a little out of the box, so too are my Bible studies. Again, I grew up on Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, so biblical studies are as fascinating as alchemy studies to me. So let me just introduce kind of like where they all came from here. The first one that I did, this is Examining Gospel Timelines. And what was fun about this book is this is kind of a testament to my obsessive compulsive nature. I had to, when I read the 4 Gospels, especially the Easter story, it kind of scrambled my brain a little bit when things weren't in order. So Examining Gospel Timelines, what this book does then is I took the 4 Gospels and I put them in sequential order. Unto itself, it was a really fun Bible study. And then I color coded them so that you can see, like right now, I can tell that red is John. The green right here, that's Matthew. Mark's blue. So it was an easy way for me to kind of put similar stories side by side, but then it also allowed me and anybody that's a reader to be able to kind of see how it reads when you put things in order. And ultimately, the real start of this study came from me during the Easter timeline, where I had to almost, hour to hour, minute to minute, figure out what came first, and really helped me kind of figure things out. So again, this one is just kind of a study in sequence. It's kind of got the least amount of me, but it was always fun to look at what would be the little clues for when they happen. The next one we have, this one is Examining Christmas. And this was kind of born of my love of all the extra stuff around the Easter story. Again, if you're familiar with the Easter story, this is by no means an introduction, but what it does do is it introduces some fun concepts, like you'll get the background on Mary and Joseph, some of the historical accounts of who they were. You get to hear about who the Romans were at the time period. You get to read about the mythologies surrounding the wise men. It turns out a lot of countries have a lot of different tales involving the wise men. So that's kind of what book you get here, just kind of a lot of those things that you wouldn't normally hear in a Christmas service. The next one we have, Examining Moses. And I got to admit, this one, you get hit heavy with some Egyptian mythology. Again, as a mythology guru at the same time as being a Bible study guru, what I loved about this one is looking at who some of those pharaohs would have been, and also some of the mythology that you would see, for example, the 10 plagues, who Moses would be dissing every time he pulls off one of the miracles. So this one has a lot of fun contextual comparison. And this one, if you enjoy end times, this one is Examining the Beloved Disciple, aka John. And I really like this one because it starts with young John in the Gospels, and it goes all the way to the end, including a section on Patmos. So if you want to really get to know who this guy was and some fun theories, this would be Examining the Beloved Disciple. Finally, let me just show you how you can order the books. If you go to lurapublications.wixsite.com/books, Inside of here, you'll be able to see that here is a tab that says Order Books. And this is where you can find which book you're looking for. Let's say it's The Fire Handler. You click on that, and it will, again, make sure you're reading the right one. And then it'll get you a PayPal button here, so you'd be able to click on that, and it would allow you to be able to buy it with PayPal. So that one's slick if you want to pay for that. Otherwise, some of the other books that I have, you can find those also on my personal website, jasonleewillis.wixsite.com, and then that one is located inside of the bookstore. Again, I have the paperback and hardcovers in here, so that's what you can find here. Keep in mind, my Bible studies currently have their own website. I'll be bringing these all over to the Jason Lee Willis and the Lura websites also. Since I have my own company now, I'll be bringing these over. But the same concept, if you see any of those that you like, you can just click on the Buy It Now button, and it will bring you in, and you can pay with PayPal or your credit card. It'll throw in the tax and the shipping. Again, if you're looking for the ebook, you can order those off of Amazon. But again, the best ways would be to order directly from me. And of course, the best way to order would be order via Venmo. With Venmo, all that money goes directly right to me. You could leave me a message if you wanted to order like 5 books. Calculate the dollar amount. Venmo me this over. We will, do some correspondence. I'll make sure you get the best deal available. So that's always, of course, the best way to do it. Or email me at jasonleewillisnovels@gmail.com, and I can send you an invoice as well. So that's how you order.